Layton from Parfums de Marly. Now, I know everybody already has reviews out on this. A ton of people have already talked about it, but I don't think anybody's really talked about it like this. We got three different bottles here, and not only are they different ages, we got a pre-formulation batch, we got a newer batch, but these bottles also have little stories about how I actually came about getting the bottles. So we're gonna go into how I came across the fragrance to begin with, how I like the fragrance, as well as how I came to have three different bottles. So without further ado, let's get into this. We'll start off with how I came across Parfums de Marly Layton to begin with. This was actually my first niche fragrance, so that's why I want to talk about it. When I first got a sample of this, I had never tried anything niche. I had a very simple collection of designer stuff. But at that time, I was watching a lot of reviews, I was watching a lot of top 10 videos, and everybody kept talking about Parfums de Marly. And at that time, the main fragrances that I kept hearing people bring up over and over was Layton and Pegasus. And at that time, I was ordering samples from eBay. I didn't know anything about the Facebook groups doing decants. I actually didn't even know what a decant was at that time. To give you guys an idea of how far back this was and how far I've came, I didn't even know what a decant was, and then I went on to start an online decant store, which sadly I'm no longer doing because Etsy shut my store down. That's kind of why the fragrance content slowed down. I was kind of bummed out, and it kind of pissed me off to try to do the fragrance content because I kept thinking about the fact that I wanted to do my decants. Got rid of a lot of the collection because the stuff that I'm not personally wearing now, I don't really see that much need to have. I had a lot of the stuff just because I was decanting it out, and it really wasn't stuff that I was wearing. So got rid of a lot of that. Now it's down to just a personal collection. Still gonna get some stuff in. I got a bunch of decants in that I'm gonna do some videos on. But enough of that, I don't want to get too far off topic. We're talking about Layton. So I ordered the overpriced samples from eBay. And mind you, they're like 1.5 milliliters. Ordered one of Layton, one of Pegasus. And to tell you how underdeveloped my nose was at the time, I really couldn't tell that big of a difference between them. Now, I was intrigued by them, but I didn't know which one I really liked more than the other. But after I spent a little bit of time with them, Layton definitely stuck out to me. And I ended up wearing the last of the sample that I got out to a nightclub. And that was the first time I ever got any sort of attention for a fragrance. And it really wasn't even direct attention. I was going up a flight of stairs and I heard a girl behind me who was walking up the same flight of stairs yell to her friend that the guy in front of us smells really fucking good. So technically it wasn't a direct compliment. It wasn't like somebody telling me, oh, you smell so good, what are you wearing, anything like that. But it did show me that it was an attention grabbing fragrance, that people would be drawn to it, that it would get noticed. And at the time, I was really new to cold approach, and I was looking for any sort of like edge that I could. So I figured look good, smell good, get good at approaches. Anything you can do to increase your perceived value in the beginning of an approach is what I was really going for. But after that experience of overhearing a stranger tell her friend that I smelled really good, I went home that night and I ordered a bottle of Parfums de Marly Layton. And that was this 75 milliliter right here, which is pretty much empty at this point because this was and still is one of the main fragrances that I wear. I haven't completely drained it. There's still like a little bit of juice in there that I'm just saving so I have a reason to keep the bottle. I'm not going to throw the bottle away because it was my first niche fragrance. And to tell you how impressed I was with the presentation, because like I said, I pretty much just had cheapy designers at the time, really wasn't getting into niche perfumery heavy. I didn't plan on it. But then I came across Parfums de Marly and it honestly changed my perspective on things. This is the brand that actually got me into niche perfumery, to be honest with you guys. And I was so impressed with the bottle, with how heavy this cap was. None of the designer fragrances I had at the time had a cap like that. And I was so impressed that the day that Layton came in, I started watching more reviews about Parfums de Marly and discovered Herod. And at the time before getting Layton, my favorite going out fragrance was the original Spice Bomb. So spicy tobacco fragrances are something I've always been drawn to. I saw the note breakdown for Herod and was like, run it. I ordered Herod the day that Layton came in, just so I could have the two like complementary bottles. And we'll save the story about Herod for another video because we're focused on Layton right now. But that's how I really got into Layton. And at that point, I pretty much stopped wearing Spice Bomb going out. I was dead set on, I wore Layton every single night that I went out until I came across Ojon. Sadly, the decant that I got was a pre-formulated batch of Ojon, and then I went on to buy a reformulated batch. And honestly, it's not the same. I think that was a bigger change than Herod, honestly. Maybe the juice color wasn't as big of a change, but the scent itself, Ojon's not the same. Still smells good, but I got rid of my bottle and I'm looking for a pre-formulated bottle. We'll try to limit my side tangents. But that is how I ended up coming across Parfums de Marly, and that's how I got my first bottle, which again is the 75 ml. The next bottle that I went on to get was 125 milliliter. Originally just got it pretty much to decant out because shortly after I got that 125 milliliter, this 125 milliliter popped up on eBay, and this is the original formulation. It is a tester, and I know some of you guys like knowing batch codes, so I'll drop the batch code on the screen as well as I'll put it in the description down below. But what was cool is I was hunting for a pre-formulated bottle for a while. I'm talking months. I put out multiple posts in the Facebook groups, nobody answered, and then randomly one popped up on eBay. And I would usually be hesitant to buy from eBay, but I messaged the guy. He showed me all the pictures that I needed to confirm that it was legit and to confirm that he was actually the one in possession of the bottle. Made the purchase, actually made an offer on the bottle, and it was accepted, so I got it lower than the listed price. And then when I received the bottle, I posted about it in the Facebook groups, and it so happened that the dude who sold me the bottle on eBay was in the Facebook group that I posted about getting the bottle. So then we became friends through that. Left him a review on eBay saying that he was legit, people could buy from him. He also got cred in the group for selling a pre-formulated bottle. So it was just a cool experience all around because the way the algorithm was obviously working, he just wasn't seeing my posts in the group. He had the pre-formulated bottle the whole time and then posted it on eBay, and then I'm the one who ended up seeing it when I was looking in the same group as he's in to begin with. It was a crazy coincidence because really cool dude too. Like I've stayed in contact with the guy, one of my online friends to this day, really cool dude. So shout out to Jason if you watch this, dude. Never getting rid of this bottle. I didn't do decants of it. This bottle was literally got so I could have the original formulation of Layton because it was my first niche fragrance. And I love it. I wear the shit out of it. A lot of people will say that it's a winter fragrance, and honestly, I just think it's a nighttime fragrance in general. I live in a subtropical environment and I wear this when it's 80, 85 degrees out at night. Now, if you wear it when it's 80, 85 degrees out during the day, it's completely different. I don't know if it has to do with the sun evaporating it and heating it up on your body and changing the notes, but not only does it smell different, it behaves completely different when you wear it in the sun during the day. I don't like it. The vanilla comes out too much. It turns too sweet and it turns into almost like a headache balm for me. Versus at night, I can spray it on, it smells amazing. No matter if I'm in a hot nightclub, no matter if it's hot and humid outside, as long as it's evening going into night, Layton, I'm good with. I know there's some people who are going to want to break down between the batches, but to be honest, this is one of the scents where I will say it's not that different. The pre-formulated batch is more pungent, it's more concentrated, so it should be. The opening, you do have more of that menthol vibe. And to be honest, when I smelled Layton, I never understood why people said it had a menthol opening because I never got that up until I tried the pre-formulated version. So I think they calmed down or maybe removed whatever ingredient was giving the heavy menthol vibes. Maybe they wanted to make it a little more smooth and mass appealing. I'm obviously not sure about the details. I don't work for the company and I'm not a chemist. But what I can tell you is compared to some of the other reformulated fragrances I've smelled and compared them to pre-formulated batches, this one's not all that different. If you smell them side by side in the dry down, deeper into the fragrance after it's got time to settle and the menthol's really not there anymore, you're not really going to tell a difference, guys. It's not really a big change. I think Harrod changed a lot more than Layton. I think Ojon changed a lot more than Layton. I think Carlisle changed more than Layton because it's half Harrod. And to be honest, the reformulation on Sedley ended up making the fragrance last longer, and nobody complained about that reformulation. So there's times when reformulations actually end up benefiting, and then there's times when they suck. This is one of the cases where I think it's just kind of even. I haven't noticed any big differences on the performance. I haven't noticed any big differences deep into the fragrance. I haven't noticed any big differences once you get past the dry down. It's really a close comparison. And that's why I think the old batches of Layton, granted they are hard to find, but they don't command the same high prices as the Carlisles and the Harrods do. You try to find an old batch of Carlisle, you try to find an old batch of Harrod, and the price is probably going to be up there unless you're buying it from somebody who doesn't realize what they have. I appreciate everybody who watched this video. I'm kind of interested to know, what was you guys' first niche fragrance, or what was the first fragrance that really got you into niche perfumery that made you want to explore more options? Because just because it's the first niche fragrance that you try doesn't mean you're gonna like it. Because to be honest, now that I've tried a lot of different fragrances, I think I got really lucky with trying Layton and Harrod as my first niche fragrances. Because as I went on to try different brands, even different fragrances from Parfums de Marly, to be honest, these ones have continued to stand out to me. Layton and Harrod will go down as some of my favorite fragrances of all time. And fun fact, if you combine Layton and Harrod together, that's Carlisle. So I'll leave you guys with that little tidbit of information. I appreciate everybody who made it this far in the video. Drop a comment down below with any video suggestions for the future. Make sure you guys have a positive and productive rest of your day. Make sure you stay smelling good, and I will see you in the next video.